And oops, here we go. Welcome, everybody, and good morning, good evening, good afternoon. And thank you for joining to this Neo4j Live today on Powering Advanced Streamlit Chatbots with GenAI. I'm very happy to have two super nice and friendly people join me today to talk about this topic. First and foremost is Leann Chen, who will be driving the presentation and who will also show us the demo today. So, a very warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining, Leann.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm excited too. I think this is going to be fun. This is going to be interesting. The other person who is very famous, I think, around the Gen AI and LLM space in Neo4j world is my dear colleague Tomasz Bratanic, who is joining us. Who's not been on the stream before as often, but you probably have read his blogs, his various interesting articles he's posting constantly. So I'm super happy to have you as well today to help me out with with,
with yeah, I mean, I saw that Leann is gonna drive the presentation, and I saw she's brave enough to do live demos. So I'm very happy to just sit here and talk a little bit and let her do her thing.
That's cool. Yeah, thank you for joining. So, before we dive in, obviously this is live. This is as you said, live demo. Some of it. So please be kind. But also because it is live, you have the opportunity to ask questions. To put your comments in chat to let us know what you think. To let us see where you're stumbling. Where you, I mean, maybe you are working yourselves on a chatbot. Maybe you have done it before. Maybe you have some comments, some feedback. Generally, please let us know. It's more fun if everybody is involved. So it's always nice to hear and to interact with you. So yeah, just use the opportunity in chat. If you watch this as a recording, obviously you can post on YouTube comments, LinkedIn comments. You can check out our community forum, or the Discord server for more conversations afterwards. Follow Leann, follow Tomasz, obviously for all and any content around it. I saw, Leann, you posted a couple of more things since we talked recently about this. So you are also a very interesting person to follow and to look at what kind of content you are going to do in the future. Yeah, but now we're going to talk a little bit about the topic of today, powering advanced Streamlit chatbots. Maybe before we do that, a little detour on your journey towards graphs, towards Neo4j, and maybe a little bit about yourself as well. Do you mind sharing a few words about who you are, what you do? Maybe start with that first, and then we can discuss how you discovered the wonderful world of graphs.
Yeah, of course. So I currently work with a YouTube channel called Lawrence Kenshin Striking Breakdowns. It's one of the top martial arts brands. So if you're into martial arts, definitely go search on YouTube. But what I do is help the channel analyze YouTube traffic data. But like social media traffic data, it's very messy. Like people come from a lot of places. And when you want to find pattern, you really have to know how the traffic are connected. How are they related to each other? So you'll be able to target more precisely where you can find the patterns. And to be honest, like not until this August, I first know about graph analytics, graph database, mostly from Tamash's articles. Like big thanks to you. You know what? I'm feeling like I'm having this really weird feeling. I feel like I'm like a college student registered for a class, but suddenly COVID happened and the entire class went remote. And the class is taught by Tamash, so I just need to self-taught, self-teach through his Medium articles. And then this is finally I'm here, and it's like the final class, and I'm doing presentation. Let Tomas to evaluate how good I'm applying the knowledge from his articles. But thank you. I really learned a lot, even if just a few months. I've been able to apply so many hands-on just because reading through and repeatedly reading through Tomas articles. So big things. And also there's like a very strong community from Neo4j. I really appreciate that. There's like, so like Neo4j Live, that they're like frequently hosted on YouTube, and a lot of sources, even like the Nodes 2023 last month, October 26th. I watch a lot of it. It really helped me a lot. So I'm probably going a little bit too far, but I'm really like the point where I get into knowledge graph, I just like I'm more addicted to this world.
Yeah, I mean, we're happy to have you excited. So that's not a big deal. Even if you just spend the next 30 minutes talking how excited you are, that's totally fine.
Well, that sounds nice.
Absolutely, we can do that. We can discuss that. We can also discuss Professor Tomáš's lecture style.
Yeah, we can have another YouTube video.
Yeah, exactly. Tomáš, did you track how many articles and posts you have written on the topic GenAI LLM kind of?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I mean, it's not that much. I would say it's like 10, maybe 15. But I know, like, I have like 70 articles or something like that on Medium. So it's a lot.
Yeah.
And then when
Yeah.
someone says, I like the article you wrote, I'm like, yeah, I mean, nice, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
I would definitely suggest you like write your second book, because you released the graph algorithm, the book of graph algorithms, and probably like your Medium articles can become another one.
Yeah, I mean, let's, I mean, how do you say? Let's not say too much, but yeah, that's something that's happening.
Okay.
But yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah, but let's not put too much pressure on me.
Yeah, for sure.
No, let's not do that. But yeah, I mean, I agree. These articles are great. I mean, as you maybe know, I'm also curating the Twin4j newsletters every week, and I in the past I had a couple of weeks where I thought, okay, now let's. The challenge was to me, let's not put a Tomáš article in this one, because there was so many and so many good ones. I was like, okay, I have to get the other people need some space as well, and I put Tomáš's article in next week.
Oh, I see. Okay, then we'll work hard to catch up.
Yeah, exactly. I had to catch up a little bit, but yeah, this is good. Yeah, some comments here on chat as well. Tomáš's article is excellent material to learn. Yeah, it's really good. And there is a long time it used to be the only place a little bit where we talked about the whole topic, and where the articles helped out a good deal. Just to talk about, to finish this thought on learning and how to build your knowledge, we have recently released two Graph Academy modules, one on fundamentals, and one actually also on a chatbot building, and there will be more modules added in the future. So if this topic is interesting to you, and you think, okay, where should I start? How do I learn? Reading Tomáš's article definitely helps. Watching this video totally helps as well. Following Leann on her content totally helps as well. And the Graph Academy courses are yet another, anchor point. You can click through and learn some stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Cool. Shall we dive in the topic today? So it's called Powering Advanced Streamlit Chatbots with GenAI, and you said you work on this YouTube page on the analytics side and the traffic. Was this one of the anchors for you to say, hey, I'm working on this data all the time. I want some kind of chatbot integration that would help me solve my work, or did this come? What was the
Motivation.
Let's say motivation, exactly? Thank you. Somewhere else.
Yeah, so I think for a lot of people working in data science, like one common challenge is how do we deliver like the analytics report to the decision makers? Like we don't want to give them so many like statistical jargons or something like that, and we want to deliver effectively. And then like GPT-4, we see how powerful it is, like how much patience it has and how good it communicates. So then I just think like, okay, so if all my like analytics report can be at the back end, and I just present this chatbot to whatever, like whoever the decision makers are, and they can play around, they can dig how deep they want to like to know about the analytics. So that is the first idea that come to my mind. But before that, because that's I'm actually currently working on that right now, but that's a much larger scale. And I just think like, okay, how about let's I'll just start from small. I'll just start with one like chat with your PDF, that kind of application. As like I'm gonna quote this phrase from Tomas articles, like rack, typical rack is like the hello world in Python. Remember you said that? Something like that. So I start from then. I start from that, like just one document and see how it works. And then it just gets like more fun. Like with like today's topic is advanced chatbots, which means we're gonna like discover how advanced rack comes into play, like how the chatbot can navigate more data sources than just one document. So like I think I just really learned a lot, and this is definitely gonna help my future work as I like having these hands-on experience.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds really interesting because at this stage, a lot of people like want to have the chatbot and then their data and have the chatbot prepare all the analytics. And I think we're not there yet. But if you, a professional analyst who does reports, and then the chatbot can only look at professionally curated reports, I think that's like an awesome idea because you alleviate like the problem of having chatbot generating all the statistics. You do that, they are correct, right? Because usually what you tell to your CEO, you want to validate or verify a couple of times, right?
Yes.
So you
Yes.
can do that, but then instead of your CEO pinging you, hey, what's that number? What's this number? You just say, look, dude, here's chatbot. Right? Talk to the head, but it's talk to the chatbot because I'm on vacations.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, well, I think it's there's gonna be a lot more work needs to be done, but like the ultimate goal is like how do I like close the gap between like that kind of communication gap, the background knowledge gap, the better communication gap, that kind of thing. That I'm thinking how Gen AI can really accelerate and improve.
I'd love to learn more about it because for me it's also awesome, right? Talking to people because a lot of people have a lot of cool ideas, and for me it's also interesting. It's like this is like the first time I heard that basically you could basically do the analytics like professionally, and then just have the LLM summarize those results, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we skipping the analytics report generation and
Mm-hmm.
doing basically summarization like question answering, which chat
Mm-hmm.
good at. Uh, this one. So I think I also always love to talk to with people and learn something new.
Yeah, it's always great to brainstorm different ideas with cool people.
Hmm.
Absolutely, and we have you today as one of those cool people, where people can learn from. So yeah, I think that's interesting. That's great. I don't know. How should we start? Do you have a couple of slides? Do you wanna talk over? Yeah. Okay.
So I think let's see. I'm gonna share my screen.
Yep. Then I can switch it on.
Wait, wait a second. How? Okay, is that ad source? Oh yes. Okay. Show my presentations. Oh, so is there like a screen sharing?
Yeah, you click on share screen at the bottom of the screen. You should have a little a screen icon with an arrow on it.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And then you can decide full
Okay.
screen or window.
Yes, sure. Okay, let me share my screen.
Yeah.
Share this screen.
Yeah.
Everyone see my screen? Okay, great. So before that, I'm gonna share like the final product of what the chatbot actually look like. Oh.
Okay. I love it.
So
That was a great intro.
Yeah.
Like so we can have like a clear, like clear idea of what it really looks like. So this is the first chatbot that I make from the movie Inside Out. This chatbot is only based on one single document, like the movie script. So this is the typical rag, and this looks like a knowledge graph, but it's not. It's only like HTML file, and I think this is really cool. But our focus is on today's this app. So the OpenAI saga. Like 2 weeks ago, like people are, like what happened? Why Sam get ousted? So let me just show like a really quick function, like what happened, Sam Altman, and it's gonna take a little bit time of it's gonna take some time to run, but what is really cool is let's have some patience.
So I guess you're using GPT-4.
Yes. And okay, so here's the result. So I enter like a question, right? And it generates like at the back end sorry, in the back end, it turns my like natural language question into cipher query to query the Neo4j knowledge graph. And this is like the interface where we would see in the Neo4j graph interface, right? Like you see entities and their relationships, and also the answer, like to my answer. So this is something that what this app is really about. And before that, if anyone has any question, just feel free to jump in. But I'm gonna officially start my presentation.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you. But this chatbot is basically LM plus advanced RAG, and this RAG will first build a knowledge graph in our Neo4j database. And how we're going to do that later, I'm going to showcase, like in terms of how do we extract entities and relationships from all text data, from the sea of text data. We can use Spacey LLM or other tools, like if you want to pass all the tags onto like GPT-4, that's also fine too. I've tried that, but I'm gonna explain why I chose this, and then build advanced RAG on top of knowledge graph. So I'm gonna also show you what my Neo4j database looks like, and then move everything onto Streamlit, so we can have an interactive graph interface as you just saw. Okay, so what we're gonna do is first we're gonna summarize the articles of various sources of articles first before extracting entities and relationships. And the reason I choose to summarize this is because it can filter out the noises. Like if you just pass all the data onto GPT-4, like the result can give you like the result can be quite messy. You can get some unwanted entities and relationships because you did not specify what you want in the first place. So I'm gonna summarize the articles as my data cleaning process, and then onto Spacey, where I extract entity and relationships, and which is now like Spacey is now integrated with LLM, so it's called Spacey LLM. And then use those entities and relationships, converted them into Cypher queries using GPT-4 to form a knowledge graph, and finally Streamlit. So this is the entire process of what it actually looked like. Before that is, does anyone have any question? Feel free to jump in.
So you're using GPT-4 all the time, or like do you sometimes use 3.5? Like is 3.5
Yes.
good enough for some things?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, like, I prefer GPT-4 pretty much all the time. Like, summaries, because it just gives up like more nuanced results, even though it's more expensive. I have to admit, like my bill on OpenAI last month was a solid, like $20 or something. So it's like, okay, that's a, it's, I consider it as an investment to comfort myself. But yeah, Tomasz, I'm curious why you asked like if I use GPT-4 all the time.
Yeah, because GPT-4 is slow and costly.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
I feel like the summarization part,
Mm-hmm.
like the GPT 3.5 might be good enough.
Oh yeah, yeah, I actually agree with that.
So that might be, but what I like since the OpenAI Dev Day, I'm strictly using GPT-4 Turbo or the
Mm-hmm.
preview model because it's faster. So like on average,
Yeah.
let's say, because we waited, let's say 10 seconds for GPT-4 to generate the cipher query, right?
Yes.
And
Oh. Okay. Mm-hmm.
and with the new one, it takes around 3 seconds. So it's like more than I don't know which way you want to go, but more than like 50% faster than GPT-4. And like for generating cipher statements,
Oh,
it's
sorry.
I think it's also better because the new one and the GPT-4 Turbo has
Mm-hmm.
been trained up until April 2023. So
Uh-huh.
it has the newer syntax, right? So
Yeah.
it's then much easier to also have it work on Neo4j 5 as opposed to the old one, because the old one is like 2021. And then
Oh.
you have to teach it the new syntax, right? Whereas with the new one, I mean, it's still not 100% accurate, but it's
Mm-hmm.
better, right? Because the new syntax was it's in training data. So now basically I'm using GPT-4 Turbo, or it's called
Mm-hmm.
the preview version of the GPT-4
Mm-hmm.
all the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tamasha, I really appreciate you bring up this point because I was actually like contemplating on this question a lot too. Like, do I like we know GPT-4 is probably currently the best model, but do we need that all the time? Like in terms when we consider time and cost, do we need the advanced AI for every single text? So I think that's a very smart perspective in terms of planning, like where do I actually put the advanced AI to its maximum, like potential.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, well actually it connects to my next point. I'm gonna show like sorry. Like so actually in my spacey like entity and relationship extraction, I'll just jump to the code, very small part. So for extracting entities, I use the traditional spacey library,
Uh-huh.
which is not LLM integrated.
Mhm.
Yes. And this is the reason pretty much resonates with what you said. Like, I experimented this. If I pass all my entities to GPT 3.5 or 3.4, no, no, there's no 3.5. I'm sorry, 3.5 or 4. It takes more. It took more than 15 minutes to run, and my bill just like increased. And I don't want that. I don't want that, right?
Yeah.
So, so then I figure out, okay, if I just use the traditional one, which is already a very well trained, supervised machine learning model, and and I'll just then refine it with GPT-4. I don't need GPT-4 for the entire process. I can break down the process into smaller chunks, use some of the already very well trained models, and then use GPT-4 in the later steps. So yeah, what I think that's the real this connects really well what you just said, and because I also did the same.
Mhm. Okay, so maybe now we go back to the start.
Sorry.
I mean, now we go back from the start because we just jumped right deep into the middle of the
That's
notebook.
yes. Sorry. Let me know
No,
anytime.
no worries, no
No,
worries.
no, that's good. That's good. I mean, shall we briefly stay with GPT-4, because there was another question from Mikkel on the
Okay.
chat.
Yes.
Is there any other reason you should not be using open source LLMs? He mentions Llama 2 to use it, or any reason why you particularly picked GPT-4, or was it just a
Mm-hmm.
convenience for you, and then any other LLM
Mm-hmm.
would also be fine
Mm-hmm.
to use?
Mm-hmm. Well, so like to be honest, I haven't really tried out any other LLMs. To be honest, but I think GPT-4 is currently probably like the most powerful model among others. I think probably Tomasz will have more like
Yeah, I
well-drawn
mean,
thoughts
I've
on
played
this.
around with all of them. So I would say that when you're doing like summarization uh, types of tasks, or maybe like the typical rec where it just kind of extracts information from text and generates the answer, then open source models, like the better ones, are probably, I would say, good enough. But the problem with LLMs is always that they are non-deterministic. So if we say that GPT-4 works like, let's say, 95% of the time, then open source models work 80% of the time, right?
Yeah, there's a
And
difference. Yeah.
so, so what do you do those 20% of the time? If those 20%
Mhm.
of the time are exactly when you're doing the demo, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. But like for generating cipher statements, nothing come close to GPT-4. Like even GPT 3.5 is not good enough. And like if you see
Mhm.
open source models try to compare to 3.5 most of the time, but if you say that 3.5 is not good enough, then basically you're only left with GPT-4. Or you can fine tune your own model, but then that takes a significant
Yeah.
investment. Right?
Cool.
Mm.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's really great. And yeah, like thought process. Thank you. I'm actually always waiting for Tomasz to speak.
Yeah. But yeah, now let's go back to the
That's
demo.
fine.
Okay. So,
We can do more questions later on, but maybe
okay.
not to derail you all the time.
No worries. I'm happy to go wherever it's best for the session. So where like do I just jump into my code or what do you think would be best? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, should if you just go over the steps. So now we saw that basically you have the graph. Like one question that you didn't answer, but you said you generate cipher statements. Do you also do any vector search or just cipher statement, and then we can go into the code so that we get like an overview.
Yeah. So what Tomasz like you're targeting is how, like, when I enter a question, how was the question being generated, right?
Yeah,
That
how
part.
is the information
Okay.
retrieved? Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Let me open up. Hold on. Let me open up my app first. Give me 1 second.
No worries.
So, okay. Okay. Let me share my screen.
Yes.
Oh yeah, so it's already shared. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so this is the code space that, like, where you can code your app, and like for the Streamlit app. Give it some moments. Setting up connections.
Yeah, I'm looking at the code. So basically, you're generating cipher only.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so basically that was my question.
yes. So, well, I didn't have. Let me just do like an experiment. I don't have it now, but let me show you where the process is, like where it generates the cipher.
Okay.
So here, a very like quick walkthrough is, I first this is the prompt on the Streamlit interface. I like if where the user can input what he or she or they want to ask the prompt, and we check if the OpenAI key is over there, because I'm not going to pay everyone's so
No.
this
Yeah.
is required. And then this is like the prompt here. Okay. I know where I'm looking for. The process query here. Let's go on to, yeah. It's a function up there, but it uses this one.
Yeah, I see that.
Yes.
Thing.
And
Okay.
I think this is also from one of your articles, like Langchain with cipher search.
Yeah, I also did the implementation in Langchain, so I'm quite
Yeah.
familiar.
Yeah. So yes. So this is what is
Okay.
going on, the cipher query. Yes. It's not probably there's too much code here. My bad.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to derail you too much. So, okay, we know it's cipher, and maybe now we go step by step and be mindful of the time a little bit.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. So, okay. So I'll just start from the beginning on my Jupyter notebook. And the reason why I think this is a fun project is because it like the OpenAI saga, like why Sam Altman get fired, is pretty interesting. So I think, okay, we can get a lot of data sources, and that would be an advanced rack. Is that a literally advanced rack system? So first, the data sources are from Wikipedia and news, and I'll just use the Wikipedia loader from Langchain and pass the query here. I'm not gonna run it because that's gonna take it's gonna take some time. And note here that even though I just passed the query of whatever, like here is OpenAI, it will also extract other Wikipedia pages related to OpenAI. So it's not just that single page, it's going to contain more. And you have to do some data cleaning to determine like what the source you want to include. And then we're going to skip this because we're going to enable Neo4j database later. And this part is also like load news articles. I already have all the news articles in in my in my file. But oh, wait. Yeah, so I fetch it all and it's all in my like local
Can you just open one just so that we get an idea what one looks like?
Oh yeah, sure. So
Uh-huh.
yeah. So I basically did a little data cleaning. The text font is it's a little bit small, but why I did this is because on like either TechCrunch or Financial Times, there's a lot of ads like around the text or something like that. But I want clean text data, so I just extract like only news. I don't want other advertisements to contaminate my data sources. So this is what it looks like. Every file is cleaned.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yes. Okay. And I just combine Wikipedia articles and news, and then the next step is to summarize them. So yes, and here I use Langchain's map reduce chain. This is because if you go on to Langchain's official website, MapReduce is good for summarizing multiple articles. Like basically, we first go to the map phase, where it generates individual summaries for each article, and then onto the reduce phase, where it combine these individual summaries that are generated previously to like condense it into a more comprehensive one.
Okay.
Yes, and note here you still need to give a template for the model to better understand what it should extract, what it should not include. So for me, my focus are on relationships and also events such as like when Sam get fired and when Sam got hired, like returned to OpenAI. And I also include an example. I think a lot of people will agree that including examples in your template, in your prompt template, is always a good idea for like GPT 2.5 4 to better understand, okay, where do I target? What do I extract? Yes. And then onto the reduce phase, you still need a template. Yes. And same, give it an example and run it all. I didn't write this code, so it's all from Langchain. Go check it out. So here is the very like condensed result here. Like it's like we have a lot of articles, but it's only being summarized as such. And I think that's very like that's already very efficient and sufficient too. So I'm not gonna read that all, but pretty much like there's some information that is not correct, such as nearly 500 OpenAI's roughly blah blah employees. I think the exact number is 700, so a little bit outdated, but that's not gonna be a problem because when we're gonna extract entities and relationships, it's gonna handle. Yeah. Okay. So here we're onto the like entity and relationship process. And as I mentioned previously, first, like extracting entities, I use the traditional Spacey NER library because that is already very sufficient. I don't need GPT-4 here. It doesn't really make it more cost effective. And when the entities are being extracted, I start using Spacey LN, which I need to include my Open API key. Yeah, so this code also done this, and run pipeline is pretty much run the previous two. Let's but oh
Maybe
wait,
can you
yes, go
just
ahead.
give a bit overview? So what I'm saying is
Mm.
you split the text into sentences. If you go
Yes,
a little bit down,
yes. Down. You see here.
here, just a little bit up. But basically, if you
Oh,
just give like
sorry.
a high level overview, what do you do
Yes, yes.
to generate the graph?
Yes, yes, thank you for noting that. Yeah, basically I split the sentence because I think it's the granular view of the relationship should be stored in sentences. So that's why I target sentences. And then the relationships will just, like get extracted from that sentence.
Hmm.
Yeah. Do we jump to the result or
And maybe we can, because here I'm just going to give you one comment, a
sure.
disclaimer.
Sure.
So when you're using a single sentence, right,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
and you didn't do co-references solution before, if you're
Mm,
dealing with
mm-hmm.
any pronouns, so let's say Sam was fired, this is one
Mm-hmm.
sentence, and then the next
Yes.
sentence is he lives in USA, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right? It doesn't
Yes.
matter. But if
Yes.
you do it sentence by sentence, then you lose the he, like
Over.
what the what
Oh,
does he references to, right? So
yes.
I took a very different approach where I
Oh,
took
yeah.
the 16K model and you try to give it as much uh, text as possible,
Mm-hmm.
just because then it can deal with the references, right? And
Yes. Yes.
that's a big deal of
Yes. Well, I think that's a really good point.
yeah, that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, we can look because I'm
I.
really interested
Mm-hmm.
about the space LLM. I never used it,
Uh-huh.
so maybe you can show us a little bit about space LLM.
Sure.
That would
Sure.
be awesome.
Well, first, appreciate the referential part perspective you mentioned. I've
Mhm.
never thought that, but I'm gonna go back onto Medium later to read more about that. See which article. Yeah. So, but let's really like quickly dive into what Spacey LM generates.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, here. So this is an example, but
Mhm.
you see, like this is misidentified because we're not using the entities with LLM. So, and this is okay because later on you will see this is correctly identified. Um, I I don't think I see any results that has like the problem you said where he and that
Yeah,
reference.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
at
just
least not.
something to
Mhm.
keep in mind. Nobody's.
Yes. Oh yeah, here there's a she, but
Uh-huh.
oh yeah. So, Tomasz, you're right because she briefly served as this. Supposedly is referring to Mira Murati,
Hmm.
but then Spacey LM just automatically ignored this,
Yeah.
right? Because
Hmm.
it thinks she is not an entity, so I'm not gonna extract any relationship from that.
Hmm.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a really good point. I think this is something that I want to keep in mind and improve later on. This is a very good point. Like this is being ignored. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And just one final question about Space LLM. Did you
Mm-hmm.
have to come up with your own prompt, or does Space LLM have their
Uh-huh.
available prompts that you can use?
Well, no. So basically, what you need is only this config.
Huh? Okay.
Yeah, you have the pipeline set it and this, and also you can set your own labels. Like for initially, I all have these labels being set, but then later on it just like kind of restrict the outcome. So I commented out for the in the official documentation of Spacey LLM. I didn't see any prompts. It's like it really relies on labels.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, so you didn't define your own prompt, if I understand.
No. 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 Yes.
Uh-huh.
No. I didn't.
So they
Yes.
have to do it for you somewhere, somehow hidden in
Yes. Yes.
somewhere.
Yes. And
Okay.
well, I think so. Here's something that I found is Space LM is more more efficient, and I'm not sure if it's because it doesn't give me like a prompt template to use. Because when I first used GPT 3.5 or 4, I forgot, to extract relationships, it like the entire process was very very slow.
Mhm,
Yes, but then Space LM is just quicker, and I think the results come somehow is acceptable.
mhm.
Yes.
So they do a bit of magic under the hood, basically.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, I mean, before, LLMs and GPT became the hype, Spacey was already there.
Mhm.
Like it was trained on data on relationships or sentiments and entities. So yeah, this is
Yeah.
for this project. I think this is better than the general one, but it doesn't have a prompt. You're right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I later on I pass all these like relationship data. I pass it on to my GPT-4, my ChatGPT, because I need to clean it up, and eventually the cipher query just looks something like, hold on, let me find out the queries on here. So eventually, like my ChatGPT just like clean like all entities like in relationships, refine the results, and convert them into cipher queries.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So what I see basically here, you ask ChatGPT to take like information from about entities and relationships and generate
Yes.
cipher statement. Because what I'm
Yes.
seeing in this step, it did the disambiguation, right? Because before we had Sam Altman and
Mm-hmm.
Altman, but now there's
Mm-hmm.
only one Sam Altman node.
Yes.
So
Yes.
basically, in this step, ChatGPT said, "Okay, we only want to have one node representing Sam
Yes.
Altman." So you didn't
Yes.
do you did the disambiguation in this step, right? So,
Yes, I did not. Yes.
yeah.
Like as you have sharply identified exactly, like, there's like Altman
Yeah.
and Sam. Yes, like here
Mhm.
it's only Altman, but I mean I'll just let ChatGPT for to do the weightlifting to identify, okay, that's redundant. There's like kind of like
Mhm.
repetitive.
Mhm.
Yes.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Is there any question?
There are a couple of questions, so we can either do them now or do them later.
I,
As
I
you
I
like.
Okay.
I think maybe we should go to the blog post first because we only have like 10-15 minutes and we finish blog post and then we can talk a little bit.
Yep. Yep. I
Okay.
think that sounds good.
So, okay, and then I'll just quickly finish it up. This is oh, wait, wait a second. Um Eventually, like it would like the entities and relationships, it would look some like this part. So now it's a little bit complicated to view, but this is what the cipher query does here. And then we're gonna add the advanced RAG function, which will later generate these like, and one of the Maj articles mentioned you split the documents into parent nodes, child nodes, and also generate some hypothetical questions and summaries. So it could better reference and be more context aware. And how we're gonna do that is we're gonna use the ingest pi from the Neo4j advanced RAG template.
Okay.
Yes. The data is from like previously we have defined. It's pretty much the same, and I just like literally copy and paste the entire code. I didn't write this, and I just run this, and it generates
That's
the yes,
okay.
yes. So like we have everything. We have knowledge graph. We have advanced RAG. Like we want the chatbot to have multi-hop search capability, and we move on to the Streamlit process. Yes. So there's a couple things that I want to note. There's definitely a lot of code here. Is that if you still remember, we have the kind of like wait a second. Okay, it's, the graph is not here, but let's just make some. It's okay. It's in temporary arrow, but it's okay. So it's a little bit messy. It's definitely not as good as the interface in Neo4j. Like you can stretch it like that in Neo4j, but I kind of want to have that interface in my Streamlit app. But how we do this is do Streamlits, do Streamlit a graph. They have a library called a graph. Let me show you. And basically, I need to first construct or fetch the queries from the Neo4j database on the backend. Like, so on this app, sorry, on this app, I first ask a question, right? And on the backend, it generates a cipher query. And Streamlit will use that cipher query to like convert it into nodes and edges and return the interface that we just saw. And that's all in my GitHub repo. I don't think I'm gonna walk through them all because it's a lot. I don't want everyone to get lost in the weeds. But what it does is it either grabs the query from Neo4j database or from here. Like you can select, for example, if I select person, and it will like on the back end it will say, okay, I'm gonna find out all persons or all people entities,
Mhm.
and Streamlit starts doing the work to append the nodes and append the edges and um like give out this kind of result. So this is what actually happened. Again, like you can reference the entire code in my GitHub repo because it's quite a lot, I would say.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can give you now an A plus because I see you did a lot of things. It's good. So you're generating graphs from text, and you
Yes.
found out spatial LLM, which is really nice. You're
Yes.
generating cipher queries and then fetching nodes from the graph, but you're
Yes.
also doing post processing, so it's not only like an answer being generated, but we
Mm-hmm.
also have nice visualizations, right?
Mm-hmm.
We also have advanced retrieval strategies, or however you want to call them. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, we have everything. So yeah, I'm impressed.
Okay. Thank you. Well, Alexandra, I'd like to ask, like, whether Neo4j considers like further integrates with Streamlit. Is there a possibility?
Well, who is to say? I mean, it. I know that there are a couple of people who use Streamlit at Neo4j for this kind of thing. I'm not sure somebody's working on it exactly, to be honest. But it's a good point to make it easier for users to combine it and to like what you just see, like for graph visualization methods. I think that would be a good benefit. I can bring it up with the team if somebody thinks about this. If this could be an integration, maybe Streamlit itself is interested in doing that. They can obviously also work with us, but
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it's something that's in the works at the moment. But good.
Yeah, but I can just tell you, because me and Oscar, like one colleague from Neo4j, we did a Streamlit application. And like Streamlit is really nice because it works out of the box, right? And you don't need a lot of experience. You don't need any CSS or anything like that. So that's really nice. But the second you want to customize anything, it's a big pain in the ass.
Yes. Yes, exactly. I really worked so hard on this project, and like there are moments where I think, okay, I'm not gonna make any other Streamlit app ever after this project.
No.
Yeah, but and anyways, I learned a lot, but I think my next projects I'm gonna start is like Neo4j already integrates with Docker and Olama. Is that right? I haven't tried that, so I'm gonna start get my hands dirty on that too.
Yeah, so maybe I can tell something a little bit more about that. So we did the GenAI stack where we did the Docker and the Olama. And basically, you can Olama is just basically how to serve or open source or local LLMs, right? Because we had a question, how do you feel about open source models? And they're definitely a thing, and especially for security reasons where you don't want to send your information across the web.
Yes.
But it's also cheaper, right? It could be cheaper because you can run like the 7 billion models on your laptop if you have a slightly better laptop, at least a GPU. So that's definitely, and I feel like the future, like next year, we'll see a lot, because now, how I see it, let's say, we have one big model, GPT-4, which does everything, right? And it takes a lot of resources, time, cost. And next year we'll see like more focused, smaller models where you say, okay, I'll use one LLM model to summarize results. Then I'll use one LLM model to extract relationships and nodes from the graph. And then I'll use a third graph LLM to generate text, cipher from text, right? So that's how I see the future. And Olama is very nice in for deploying open source models.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I'm gonna dig into that. Thank you for that.
Yeah, no worries.
Cool. Maybe before we wrap, we cover a couple of questions, and maybe we can answer those. One was from somebody at LinkedIn whose name I think it doesn't resolve here. But how do you deal with hallucinations, and what role did knowledge graph play in handling this? I don't know if you ever touched that, but do in this case you don't really have a knowledge graph technically as a baseline, but is that something you looked at? Is that something you explored?
So, I don't actually know what like a lot about hallucination and knowledge graph, but I think the ultimate purpose of RAG is to defeat hallucination,
Yep.
right? Like we don't want, and like we want the like LM only get data from our from our customized data, get the answer, and the chatbot or LLM will respond it doesn't know when it doesn't have the data. So it actually, like in my two Streamlit apps I built, sometimes I ask questions that are out of the context. It just reply, I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't like ChatGPT, which will make up random answers. Yeah, but Tomasz, do you have any ideas on
Yeah, I
how?
mean, I would say the same thing. So basically, the idea behind removing hallucinations is that you use REC, so that you basically don't rely on the knowledge of an LLM. You just say, forget about it. We just
Yeah.
use you as an NLP model, right? You know how to summarize, you know how to. Because how I see REC is basically, I
Yeah.
heard the best explanation is you give a presentation to the LLM and then you ask it a pop quiz at the end. So that's basically
Mm,
a deck. And it's quite good at listening to presentations and then answering questions. So basically, yeah,
mm-hmm.
that's how I say is the best thing. And then it's a little bit of prompt engineering as always. And like GPT-4 listens better when you say like don't make up answers, or like if you don't
Yes.
know, say you don't know. But then if you use
Yes.
again open source models, they will not listen to you as much, and they might still respond, right, even if you say you don't want them to respond. But yeah, that's just how it is.
Yeah, cool. Another question is about ontologies. I think the question is: do you use an ontology for the set of entities and relationships based on your toy data set, your toy domain here? And I don't think you did that. But do you
No.
think that's useful if you imagine you were to implement a chatbot for your real data, your real
Mm-hmm.
domain you're working on, adding that in and using that in combination with the chatbot?
Yes, absolutely. I've read, I've saw a lot of articles on Medium and on LinkedIn. There's a lot of applications on based on ontology. I'm starting to dive into that, but to be honest, like I'm having less than 3 months of experience in, Gen AI and LM application. I'm very new to this,
Yeah,
so I'm still learning, and
very
that's a very
advanced, but already, yeah.
so I'm still kind of like a newcomer, but I'm like I think that's a very good perspective. I'll try to build that too and catch up. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I can just say that basically the more constraints you give to the LLM,
Mm-hmm.
usually it's the better, because you still want some consistency in like node labels or the relationship types, right? Because you,
Yeah.
for example, you could have like employee and then employed and then I don't know something else, but you kind of want some standardization of your ontology. And if you say you can use these relationship types and you can use these node labels, uh,
Mm-hmm.
it could reduce some of the noise that you don't aren't interested in, but also help with standardization. So providing ontology is definitely
Yes.
useful.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And there's one more question, and that's maybe a little bit more for Tomasz than for you, Leann, is a lot of advanced retrieval methods currently are flying around, implemented for vector databases. And he says, I hope there will be more implementation available for Neo4j. What's your stance on this? Do you think that there is predominantly lots of things going on for vector databases, or do we think in the Neo4j ecosystem there is already a lot going on as well?
So basically, the I would say that we do like Neo4j does a lot of things that vector databases do. It does some of them slightly better, I would say, because, for example, the parent document retrieval, which is very simple, right? But what I've seen is in other databases, you basically have a vector database and you find your relevant documents, and then you take the document ID and you go to, let's say, a MongoDB and then return text from MongoDB. But you don't have to do that with Neo4j, right? Because let's say the vector index is your entry point, and then you can traverse the graph as much as you want, right? So there's like things that vector databases aren't as good that Neo4j handles better, but there are obviously things that vector databases do better than Neo4j, and we hope to improve some of those capabilities. But it's not like I would say it's not really retrieval strategies. It's more about the technical how I say, features which allow you to do cool stuff, right? But so I say that Neo4j supports a lot of advanced retrieval strategies at the moment, and also some things that vector databases can't do.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I think that kind of like answers a little bit also to the question that Ivan posted in chat recently. And to that, I want to say, have a look at episode 23 of Going Meta, which we streamed yesterday, where we talked about advanced RAG with knowledge graph, and the combination of the two, also implementing vector search. So we do the first example demo was like legal documents uh, parsed into a knowledge graph, using vector search to find the right articles, and then using the graph to add the additional breadth of knowledge, the context, basically, in addition to the simple the first step. So have a look at that if you want to know more about the concept here and about how to combine the various, not necessarily tools, but the various part of LLMs, knowledge graphs, RAG, all the yeah, all the sphere around the solution here.
Okay.
Cool. And with that, I think we're at the end of today's episode. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Thank you very much, Leann and Tomasz, for presenting today, and for exactly to you, Leann, for being brave, as you said in the beginning, to show some code to let us look under the hood of your Streamlit app or your chatbot, and how you did it, how you derived it, and the working so far. And yeah, it's been great. Thank you very much for answering the questions, and thank you very much for presenting, obviously.
Of
Yeah.
course, thank you. I'm so sorry. I'm
Yeah,
very
go
pleasure
ahead, go ahead. I just want to say the same thing. So it's really nice that you came on stream and that we met. It's not in real life, but it's video to video. And I'm really happy, and maybe we'll do that. Like when you have a new project, we can do something similar again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sure. I'll be really look forward to that. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here, and really nice to finally see you guys
Yeah.
in online.
Exactly, at least virtually. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you. If you like, all the details, all the links are in the video description on YouTube. So if you go on the YouTube page, there's links to Tomasz's blog, links to Leann's LinkedIn profile, links to GitHub, links to everything else. And yeah, if you want to check it out there, please click it and read about it. And yeah, any questions in the comments on LinkedIn, either to Tomasz or Leann, or Discord community forum from Neo4j, anywhere you want to go. And yeah, with that, thank you all for watching, and have a good rest of your day, rest of the evening, and see you soon. If not, well, not now, then maybe in 2 weeks' time, where on the 19th of December, the final stream for this year, I have another interesting guest, and we're going to talk about enhanced QA, integrating unstructured knowledge graph with Neo4j and Langchain. So that will be also a very interesting session. Tomasz will also be there. So join us then, and see you again next time. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye bye.